The Democrats are hitting rock bottom. Watch Greg Gutfeld go off on Jessica Tarlov when she says they can still make a comeback. You guys gotta check this video out.
The Democrats are getting close to hitting rock bottom. Only 25% of Democrats say they are confident in their party's leaders in Congress, making it their worst polling result in over 2 decades. And now Congressman James Clyburn is blaming the media for their dumpster fire numbers.
I think the message that comes from the Democratic Party is a good message. The problem we've got, Alice, is that we have to depend upon the media to deliver it.
That comes as James Carville clashes with DNC Vice Chair David Hogg over Hogg's $20 million campaign to boot ineffective incumbents.
He's a contemptible little twerp.
Carville believes in a politics of being timid, of hiding. I believe in fighting.
It's the most insane thing. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, antiquated. I'm not part of the hip generation. I'm not very au courant. But I actually thought our job was to beat Republicans. How quaint of me.
James Carville has not won an election since before I was born. I think it's time to have new leaders in our party.
Okay, since we ended on that, I'll start with that. Okay, so Carville and Hogg, I love this disagreement.
So the thing about the Democrats, man, they didn't really hit rock bottom. They actually dug through rock bottom. And Trump is the person that's showing up with a ladder and showing people the way, showing the American people the way that we could be better, we could do better, we could be great again. People aren't understanding that, man. Let's keep going. Let's see. You guys got to see this.
Carville goes after him, Greg, and he says he's using money to go after Republicans. He should be using the money to go after Republicans and not Democrats. And as an officer of the DNC, he's violating his fiduciary responsibility by primarying Dems.
I don't care about either of them. They're both contemptible. One's a nitwit and the other one's a nitwit. Let him have it. I think they're dating. You know, watching Clyburn blame the media is like blaming the bank when you overdraw. You know, maybe they can't cover their debts. You know, they covered you for Biden's condition. They covered you for Kamala's competence. They covered for you when you were saying Trump was Hitler. You know what? The media is dying. The bank is dying. They can't afford to cover your debts. His complaint is unfair because it's not like the media doesn't want to get in bed with him. They do want to help. They really do. It's just that now we all get to watch, right? We've all been red-pilled. We can see them together now. We know the patterns. We know when they're lying. So it's going to be hard for the appeal of this party to return because the mainstream media is no longer has its grip on the public. When it would push a hoax, it would go through the same, I don't know, typical channels. Start low, go high, blah, blah, blah. But that pipeline has been crushed. A hoax gets smothered, you know, before it can get out of the crib. I don't think the Covenant Kid story could happen now. I don't think the Fine People hoax could happen now. And I think that everybody has been burned by COVID, the Biden cover-up, that they do not see the media as trustworthy, so they couldn't sell Clyburn's stories if they wanted to.
You know, Dana, the amazing thing is Clyburn says their message is a good one. And do you know what that message is?
No. And I don't think they do either, and neither does the media. I mean, as Greg said, they want to help. And I also think that the generational divide between the Hoggs and the Clyburns and Carvilles is quite stark. And the Republicans have been going through this political realignment. The Democrats are going through theirs now, but even more so generationally, which is pretty interesting. And if you think about the leadership, the poll is about Democratic leadership. Of course, it's polling terribly. There is no leader. And Hogg and Carville are actually both right, but one is irrelevant, but both have very bad ideas. And if I can understand why the Democrats would be mad. Like, imagine asking a Democratic donor who's worked hard all week, is not a big mega donor, okay? And you say, we get $250 from you this month because we really want to, we got to do a lot of things for the Democrats. We've got to do a lot of things for Democrats so we can fight the Republicans. And you find out that it's actually going to a primary situation that is going to make it harder for the Democrats to beat the Republicans in the general. How dare you take their money? I think that's despicable.
And that they like to sit there and say, Trump broke the system. He's breaking the system. Trump isn't doing anything but exposing the system. Then they're going to turn around and say that man's dangerous. I think the real dangerous person is the person that can't tell you what a man and a woman is. The same exact person that thinks inflation is just a vibe and you're just supposed to live through it. The same person that doesn't want to fix that. Man,
You know, the fact that the Democrats, Jessica, are not able to accept responsibility and basically say we don't have a message, we don't have a leader. I mean, doesn't it mean that they're going to stay in the tank until they kind of address the elephant in the room?
Listen, it hasn't been that long, and this has been a very fast-moving first 3 months of the Trump administration.
But this is the lowest approval
I
in
know.
2 decades.
It's terrible. I'm very upset by it, but it's going to take time to figure this out. And everyone, because of the velocity of which Trump administration is doing things, is a bit on the back foot. And they're trying to do their best. They go and they have these town halls. They're listening to their constituents. They're going to Republican districts where their members won't show up to listen to the people there. And folks are talking about what Doge is doing. I mean, Chuck Grassley had a town hall where his constituents in red Iowa are talking about Abrego Garcia. Those things are happening. To Dana's point about the David Hogg versus older generation, I completely agree. And, you know, he gave $100,000 to the DCCC as some sort of gift in this, which I just find to be even more offensive. And he talks about, and progressives, young progressives, I would say, talk all the time, well, we need this fight, and these are the issues that matter. And then they rattle off issues that don't register at all in elections. They say climate change, gun violence, LGBTQ plus rights, things that I desperately care about. But people vote on the economy or they vote on immigration. And if you want to help us, go talk to Angie Craig or Pat Ryan or some of these moderates that win in tough districts and find what the special sauce is for that. And then bring that to incumbents or people who have a chance at actually beating a Republican and help them steer towards the middle where the majority of Americans actually are electorally.
Jesse, wrap it up.
Well, I'm with Greg. Watching these two fights like watching women's boxing. They're both 130 pounds. The fighting's bad, and I don't care who wins. Clyburn.
I'll tell you guys right now, I wasn't always on this side. I didn't know which side was the one to be on. I just knew one side was angry or crazy. I was following the headlines, following the hook, everything, the hashtags, dissing one person. But then I started living in the real life. I'm like, gas is up. You know, kids can't read. They want these kids to focus on pronouns. And I was like, this man is against all the stuff that we actually go through as Americans. So I think as a true patriot, if you don't do any research before you dive into politics, you're always going to be controlled by the fear or the guilt that they try to frame you as a racist, a bigot, a far right conspiracy theorist, anything. Let me know what you guys think about this quick video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and as always, let me know at the act 2. We're out.